I want to ask you something honest, and I need you to sit with it for a few seconds before you answer. At the end of the month, where does your money go to? I don't mean the rent, the utilities, and every other necessity you pay for. What I mean is, at the end of the month, the rest of the money, where does it go to? Because if you ask some people this question, the answer is always in some version of, I don't know, it just goes. You earned it, you worked for it, but somehow, by the time the next paycheck arrives, it is already gone. No savings, no investment, no emergency funds, just quiet, familiar feeling of anxiety and starting all over again from zero. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Because today I want to show you that the problem is not the economy. It is not even your salary, neither is it bad luck. The problem is something much more fixable, and it has a solution. The solution is called delayed gratification. And that might just be the one financial skill that matters the most. Welcome back. If you are new here, this channel is about self-leadership. The real unglamorous work of becoming someone who actually leads themselves with great intention. And today we'll be talking about money, because money is an important aspect of that work. How you handle money is really about money. It's about discipline. It's about patience. It's about whether you trust your future self enough to invest in them today. In this video, we'll be covering 5 things. 1. Why most people stay financially stuck and it is not even what you think. 2. What delayed gratification actually means with regards to finance. 3. The hidden cost of instant gratification that nobody talks about. 4. The science behind why waiting builds wealth. 5. A practical framework that we're going to discuss in 5 steps that you can start using this week. This is going to be one of the most important financial conversations you are going to be having today. So stay with me. Let's get into it. Let's start with the truth. Most financial advice focuses on tactics. Budget this way, invest like this, or cut expenses like this. Tactics are not wrong. They are just incomplete. The real reason why most people remain financially stuck or stay in the same financial level year after year, it is not because they do not have knowledge, but because they lack patience. Think about it for a minute. You already know you should save. You already know that impulse spending is hurting your finance. You already know that working without a budget is wrong. You also know that creating emergency fund matters a lot. So this means that the knowledge is there, but why is the behavior not following? It is simply because any knowledge that is not properly backed with delayed gratification is useless. Here is what is really happening beneath the surface. Every single time you take financial decision, it is essentially a negotiation between 2 versions of you, the present you and the future you. The present you is the version of you who is tired, who is stressed, and who needs some level of relief right now. The future you is the version of you who needs security, who needs investment, and who needs option. Every single time you spend impulsively, the present you wins. But every single time you make investment intentionally, the future you wins. And here is the brutal math of that negotiation. Most people allow the present you to win, not because they don't care about the future, but because the future feels distant and abstract. While the relief, the purchase, the treat, that feels real and immediate. Psychologists call it hyperbolic discounting. This actually means that the closer a reward is in time, the more we value it. For example, $100 today feels more valuable than $1,000 in 6 months' time, even though rational mathematics says, wait. This isn't stupidity, it is simply biology. But biology is no longer an excuse we'll keep using in 2026, because we have goals that matter and financial pressure that are mounting every day. The people who are building financial freedom are not smarter than you. They are not luckier than you. They have simply learned, either by choice or by pain, to negotiate that inner conversation differently. They have learned to make sure that the future you win more often than not. Now, let's define what delayed gratification actually means in the context of money. Defining this phrase is very important because when people hear delayed gratification, it triggers a mixed feeling. They feel it is about deprivation. They feel it's about not spending money or eating cheap food every day. They think it's about not going out when everybody around them are enjoying. That is not what I'm talking about. Delayed gratification financially means this: choosing your future financial security over your present impulses. It is never about spending. It is about spending with intention rather than emotion. There is a massive difference between them. While one is buying something because you planned for it, you saved for it, and because it aligns with your value, the other is buying something because you saw it, you liked it, and you clicked buy before the feeling passes. While one is a financial decision, the other is a reckless impulse spending dressed up like a financial decision. Delayed gratification is waiting long enough to know the difference between both. Here are 3 examples of what it looks like in a daily life. 1 is seeing a sale sign and walking away, not because you cannot afford it, but because it was simply not in the plan. It looks like getting paid and moving some specific percentage of your money to savings before you start spending. It is not spending and actually deciding to move what is left, because most times there is nothing left. It looks like moving a specific percentage of your income or your salary into savings, irrespective of how small it is. Because if you understand the power of compounding interest, you would know that no amount is small. All of these are not deprivation, they are simply financial power. Here is what most people never actually calculate. The real cost of instant gratification is not the price of the things you bought. It is the opportunity cost of what that money could have actually become. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Imagine you spend $25 every week on impulse purchasing. Things you didn't plan for, things you didn't budget for, things you will probably not even remember at the end of the month. This means that by the time the month ends, you must have spent $100 on impulse purchasing. At the end of the year, that will be $1,200. Now, imagine instead that $100 every month are invested at 10% interest rate. By the end of 10 years, that amount will be over $3,000. That is an amount you must have either lost or gained if you manage impulse purchase. Impulse purchase gave you 10 years of temporal pleasure, while the investment gave you a financial foundation for your future. Same money, completely different future. This is an important cost that nobody is talking about. It is not just about what you have spent, it is about what you could have built but didn't. Now multiply that across every other impulse purchases that you do, the subscriptions you pay for that you didn't need, the treat yourself right that you did not plan for or never created a budget for. This is not about making you feel guilty. Guilt is not the intention. The intention here is to create awareness. Once you see instant gratification not as a harmless pleasure, but as a trade-off against the future you, the decision changes. Every time you allow yourself to indulge in impulse spending, you are denying and robbing the future you. The future you cannot fight back. Only you can, starting with this level of awareness that we are currently creating. There is one more hidden cost that is even more damaging than money. It is the cost to your self-trust. Because every single time you tell yourself you are going to save, and you did not. Every single time you tell yourself you are going to stop impulse spending and you break it, you erode the trust you have in your own self. Let me tell you this. A person who doesn't trust themselves financially is going to struggle to build any level of financial stability that requires long-term commitment. Wealth is not built in a day. It is built by the quiet accumulation of financial promises you made to yourself. Let's talk about why delayed gratification works financially, not just philosophically, but mechanically. The first is compound effect. Albert Einstein allegedly called the compound effect the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said it or not, the math is undeniable. Now, compound effect is a specific return earned from a specific money invested. That return earning more return. That return earns another return. The longer you leave that investment, the more exponential the return increases. The secret ingredient of compound effect is not the rate of the return, it is time. Time is one thing instant gratification steals from you most ruthlessly. This is because every single year you delay savings is a compounding year you will never get back. Let me give you an example. A person who starts savings at 25 would always beat someone who starts saving at 35. This is because of a decade of compounding effect. Time in the market beats time in the market. Consistency beats brilliance. And patience beats every single financial shortcut ever invented. The second is identity shift. Let me tell you something the financial gurus will rarely tell you. Building wealth, creating wealth is not a mathematics problem. It is an identity problem. Every single time you delay gratification, you save before you spend. You pause before you purchase. You are not just managing money, you are becoming a different kind of person. You are becoming someone who is in control of their financial decision. Someone who their future self can trust to make accurate financial decision. Someone who plays the long game. That identity, when it takes root, it changes every financial decision you take automatically. You stop asking, can I afford this right now? And start asking, does this contribute to the future that I am building? That shift from the present focused to the future focused is worth more than any investment strategy. The third one is stress reduction and decision quality. Research has consistently shown that financial stress impairs cognitive function. This means that when your account is zero or when you have little money to navigate your day-to-day activity, your brain operates in a survival mode. And survival mode is terrible for decision making. When you have savings, even if it is a small buffer, your nervous system relaxes. Your thoughts, your choices becomes clearer, and you begin to make decisions from a place of rational thinking than a place of fear. Emergency funds isn't just financial protection, it is cognitive protection. It is the difference between making financial decisions from a place of scarcity and fear and a place of abundance and security. All right, here is 5-step framework you could use to build delayed gratification as a real working financial habit. It is no longer going to be as a concept you do not understand or don't know how to apply. Step 1, know your number. Before you could delay anything, you need to know what exactly you are working with. This therefore means that for 7 days, just 1 week, track every expenditure you make, no matter how big, no matter how small. This actually surprises a lot of people because when they do that, they begin to realize that it is not just the big purchases, but the small one that they spend quietly, consistently, and eating away their income. Little expenditures such as coffee, data, or even subscriptions you forgot you have. Little by little, they are eating away your income. A lot of people see it as harmless, but gradually they are eating away money or finance that you could use to invest your future. Know your numbers because these actually do matter. Step 2, pay the future you first. This is going to be one of the most important financial skills you are going to develop. Every single time at the end of the month when your salary comes in, before you spend anything, before you transfer anything, before you pay any debt, move a specific amount to either your savings or investment. This is a very important financial habit because if you wait till the end of the expenditure, there might be nothing left. If possible, automate this process. See it as a way or little contribution that must be done, irrespective of what financial responsibility you have. Step 3, implement the 48-hour rule. For every non-essential, every item that were not in your budget or that you didn't develop any financial plan for. Note down the item, note down the price, and set a reminder to visit that list again after 48 hours. What you realize is that after 48 hours, the emotion that drove that impulse has cooled down, and you begin to look at that list with a fresh set of eyes. What you will find almost every time is that the urgency has passed, and the emotion which is driving the impulse has also cooled down. And revisiting the list means that you will be able to rationally decide if the item is truly an essential thing to buy or if it isn't. Because revisiting it gives you an opportunity to make absolute rational financial decision. Step 4, make your future self real. One of the reasons why we find it very easy to sacrifice our future self is simply because we don't think or feel like it is a real person. We feel like it is distant, abstract, and hypothetical. And our present self feels real, which feels tired and needs comfort right now. So for you to succeed in this framework, you need to make your future self feel like a real person. Write a letter to your future self 5 years from now, assuming you stay financially consistent. What does your savings look like? Your options, your freedoms, what stress no longer exists in your life? Then, this is important. Write a letter from that future version of you back to your present self today, telling you, what do you want to know? What financial decision are they begging you to make right now? Step 5, build a financial environment that works for you. The financial environment has a critical effect on your financial behavior. And right now, your financial environment is shaped to deal mercilessly with your financial discipline. Shopping apps on your home screen, one-click payment option, or social media feeds that actually triggers financial comparison. What you need to do is redesign that environment. Delete that shopping apps on your home screen, or if possible, entirely delete it from your phone. Disable any one-click payment option and change all social media feeds that triggers financial comparison. Put your savings in a separate account that takes about 24 to 48 hours to access. That friction is not an inconvenience. The friction is the point. Let me paint two pictures for you. Two people, same income, same city, same starting point. Person A gets his salary at the month end, and he has this satisfying feeling of a full account. Instantly, he begins to buy some certain things he has been eyeing. He begins to send money to family. He begins to pay bills and begin to engage on all kinds of expenditure. 3 weeks into the month, he begins to feel the familiar anxiety of the income going down. After 1 month, the money has gone back to zero. No investment, no savings, just the familiar anxiety and anxiousness of waiting for the next salary. Person B gets paid. Immediately the money hits his account, he moves 10% of that amount to his savings before even engaging in any kind of expenditure. After 3 months, he has a little savings he can rely on. After 6 months, that savings becomes a guaranteed emergency funds if something goes wrong. And after 1 year, he has options because now he has money that he can invest and live on if anything ever goes wrong. Same income, completely different financial realities. The major difference between person A and person B is one decision, which is made consistently. And that decision is to always honor the future you before the present you every single month. That decision is available to you right now, today, immediately after this video. I want to leave you with this. Financial freedom is not a destination that is reserved for people who are high earners, or people who have perfect circumstances, or even those with good luck. It is a practice, a daily, deliberate practice. And it is a practice that requires you to consistently select and choose your future self rather than your present comfort. It doesn't require perfection. What it requires is direction. 1 month more savings than the previous month. 1 more impulse resisted. 1 more promise to the future self kept. That is how the financial life you want gets built. Not from a windfall or from a breakthrough, but from the compounding of better decisions, which is made consistently in protecting the future you. That is you, starting today, not tomorrow, not next month, today. Take that financial decision that the future you would always say thank you for. Open a savings account, set up that automatic transfer, delete that shopping app you have on your home screen, or make that list and wait 48 hours before you make your financial decision. Do one thing, just one, right now, because the financial freedom is not built in the big moment. It is built in the small moments such as this. Lead yourself first.